A warm welcome to the cinema of the DFF and to our very special guests for tonight and the next days. And okay, I won't say a lot about you because we'll learn a lot about you in the film. And I just maybe say something about the title, because the Obsessive is ours at the top of reality. It includes all the films of you already in the title. So yes, I hand over the microphone to you. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Natascha. So once again, I thank the German Film Institute and Film Museum, the Frankfurt Film Collective, Natascha, Gikas, and Gary Vanisian, without whom we wouldn't have been here. So thank you very much. I'm Walldén, she's Antoinetta Angelidi. What you are about to see is a documentary. Well, a peculiar kind of documentary. A portrait, it's basically a very, very long confession of Antoinetta. But apart from being this confession, it is also an essay on the way Antoinetta sees, the way her films see. So if you need one key to take you through the film, it would be that way, vision, seeing literally, seeing metaphorically, the way her films are, the way about her visions, her dreams, how the dream works. So you will see a lot around the notion of vision. Keep that in mind. There is also a second line, but this you will find it by yourselves. So one other thing, it is a film made during the quarantine. It is made in a single room in the flat that we're locked in during the quarantine. It is the two of us, basically, and there is no crew. So everything is made in a single room. A lot of darkness, which is a nod to the way the films of Antoinetta are made. We will speak more about all that, if you wish, afterwards.
Ήταν η πρώτη φορά που ήθελα να μιλήσω με λέξεις.
And one thing she wants to say, it was the first time she chose to speak with words. So you will hear her words. Thank you.
Maybe I start with the first questions. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you structured the documentaries? What was your first ideas of how to start it? Because it's not too easy just to sit and start talking. So what were your first ideas, how to make it, what kind of questions you had in mind, or yes.
Okay, in reality there are two different things. The one is how you start, and the other is how this the structure is mostly, if not completely, retrospectively made. So the initiative here comes from Antoinetta, and she will speak about it a bit later. Okay, so it was her who wanted to start speaking. We had the opportunity to do it because of the quarantine, and also the funding for supporting artists during the quarantine, which allowed us to do it. And also, so she wanted to speak, I wanted to give her space. There were decided lines. For example, as I said, the issue of vision. But Antoinetta did her own process of preparation, how and what to say, and there was no script. She didn't learn things by heart. She just tells her story and performs herself. So I will return to the issue of structure afterwards, but I want Antoinetta to tell us a little bit about.
Ήταν μες στην καραντίνα όταν η πρώτη μεταμόσχευση είχε αρχίσει ή ενσωματώθηκε και έβλεπα και αισθάνθηκα ξαφνικά μια ησυχία, μια αίσθηση ησυχίας και σου είπα αυτό ότι θέλω να μιλήσω με λέξεις για πρώτη φορά.
So it was during the quarantine when it was after the first transplant to one of her eyes, when the transplant had started to be incorporated into her body, so she had her vision again for the first time after some time where it was diminishing. So she felt a silence, a kind of tranquility, and she said, I want to speak with words, and she told me that.
Και είχαμε σκεφτεί και αποφασίσει για ποια πράγματα θα μιλούσα μαζί, δηλαδή το ξέραμε, αλλά από εκεί και πέρα δεν υπήρχε ούτε κείμενο και ότι αποφασίσαμε να δουλεύουμε βράδυ με μαύρο βελούδο και όλα αυτά, αλλά ότι μες στην προετοιμασία που εσύ έστεινες στην κάμερα και εγώ ετοιμαζόμουν να μιλήσω, άρχισα λοιπόν να μιλάω έχοντας υπόψη μου τα θέματα, αλλά χωρίς να υπάρχει καμία προηγούμενη, έτσι όπως ερχόταν η αίσθηση της συνέχειας. Και μετά για τη συνέχεια θέλω να πω κάτι.
So we had discussed the lines around which the stories would go. And I add here a small parenthesis. Of course, they are the stories of her life. I know them. She knows them. And we also had made some preparations. For example, we put a big black velvet all over the library of the room so that we will create this very deep darkness from which she appears. And we always worked at night. So when the light fell, we closed the windows in the darkness. I put the camera, and then Antoinetta started speaking. And there was no written text, and there was no notion of rehearsal. She just spoke.
Και ακριβώς μιλώντας, συνέδεα τα διάφορα θέματα και γι' αυτό βλέπουμε, ας πούμε, ότι συνδέονται λοιπόν αυτά τα θέματα με έναν τρόπο και μετά ξαναέρχονται με άλλο τρόπο. Και έρχονται μέσα στη ροή του λόγου, ας πούμε, φέρνει το ένα το άλλο και βγαίνουν σαν αυτή η αίσθηση που έχω της κορδέλας.
So while speaking, she would connect the one story with the other, creating different continuations and different relations between the stories. And I will tell you afterwards how we discussed this to become a structural part of the film. But you can already see how different stories lead to stories that you have heard again in a different way. So this connection was happening on the spot. How she connected every time, because I wouldn't stop her and she would just speak. And this creates a feeling of continuation, of a continuous speech, a speech that evolves like a ribbon. This is an important part of her way of creating, of approaching speech. This idea of speech as a ribbon, think of the medieval paintings and the illuminations where you have a ribbon going out of the mouth of the people. So this is a very good image to understand how the... So after we had all this very rich and long material, what was the process of composing it? So an initial structural decision was that the film kind of makes a bow to the ways that the films of Antoinetta are constructed. So it was very important, for example, this juxtaposition between long and short shots, or the jump creation of of the editing. You must have seen this repeatedly and decisively jumping editing connections. And what was very important appeared by what she spoke of is the notion of variation and repetition and variations that are never the same. So the notion of variation is very central to the work of Antoinetta. You will see in the following days, but also you have seen yesterday the film Idée fixe diésirée. The name in Greek was Variations on the Same Subject, which in Greek subject and theme is the same word. So it is this notion of variation and the importance for Antoinetta to do variations, which comes from an experience in painting. It's very central to her work. Now she proposes a new experience of the variation as non-repetitive because of the philosophical feeling of accepting the world that came after her experiences of finding her sight again, and the notion of the quarantine, this idea that the small things become important and the repetition of everyday life. That's why the title, apart from referring to Antoinetta, it also refers to the process of making of the film, this reality that comes and obsessively we are there. And so we have in the entire film about timing, which is very important for her work, and the film plays with what Antoinetta speaks about. So you have seen many times the same stories, a little bit different, and again, and why you see when you see again one repetition and one variation. So I think this is a central, both formal and structural axis to understand the film and Antoinetta. That is the purpose of the film, after all.
I don't know if there are already some questions from the audience, or okay.
Murnau's lesson, I understood a little about it, but I would like to hear more about it.
Το μάθημα του Μουρνάου. Κατάλαβε λίγο από αυτό, αλλά θα ήθελα να ακούσει λίγο περισσότερο γι' αυτό.
Λοιπόν, μπαίνοντας στη σχολή, εκείνη την εποχή η τάση ήταν να μας βουτάνε στα βαθιά κατευθείαν. Μπαφ.
So when she entered the film school, IDEC, at that time, the tendency, rather the educational approach, was to throw the students to the deep immediately. So,
έτσι, δίναν στον κάθε έναν φοιτητή δύο ταινίες. Η μία ταινία για να την μελετήσουν, και για μένα ήταν το Φάουστ του Μουρνάου, κατά μεγάλη τύχη και ευτυχία, και μας δίνανε ένα western για να το κόβουμε και να μαθαίνουμε μοντάζ. Αλλά πρέπει να πούμε ότι δεν ξέραμε μοντάζ. Δηλαδή μπαίνανε, ναι, μας λέγαν 2-3 πράγματα για τη μουβιόλα και κλαπ, ας πούμε, μας δίναν τις ταινίες.
So, upon entering the school, each student was given 2 films. One to study and one to play with. The one that she was given to study for her good luck and pleasure was Murnau's Faust. So, and the one that was to play with was some Western, which they cut in little pieces. But the important detail is that no student actually knew anything about editing. They didn't teach them editing to start with. They just gave them the reels, and they explained them a little bit how to use the moviola, and they let them play with the moviola. So this revelation that she describes is one of the first experiences she had studying film.
Ναι, ακριβώς αυτό ήθελα να πω, και ότι βλέποντας τον Μουρνάου και πηγαίνοντας σιγά σιγά και μαθαίνοντας ταυτόχρονα τον μπρος πίσω και όλο αυτό το πράγμα, δηλαδή προσπαθώντας να καταλάβω πώς είναι φτιαγμένο αυτό το θαυμαστό πράγμα, έπαιζα πάνω στην εικόνα αυτή, η οποία είναι ο καθεδρικός που είναι το καμπαραριό, δηλαδή η κάθετη γραμμή, και εκεί πέρα πάνω έβαζε ο Μουρνάου τη μορφή του Μεφιστοφέλη. Και αυτό που βλέπουμε 2 φορές στο φιλμ είναι ότι εκεί που ανοίγει τα φτερά του, καλύπτει όλο το... Και αμέσως μετά ξεκινάει η πανούκλα και είναι όλη η ιστορία.
A parenthesis before I say what she said. Remember that at the time they didn't have DVD players to play it, so this was her first experience to be able to go slowly with the film, to take forward and backwards, and have the opportunity to study how it was made, an experience that it's not that strange today. So it was her first time that she worked. She used the moviola to see exactly how this miracle was constructed. And what did she realize? By seeing the shots of, what were the shots? It is a shot of the cathedral, or rather the bell tower of the cathedral, of the city over which Mephistopheles is. So it was a specific axis in the frame. Then the body of Mephistopheles, of the demon, was in the next shot. It was exactly on the same position inside the frame. So you understand that it was the axis of the one and the other were identified, and this is how editing functions, how the form of the 2 shots create meaning by being in the same position. And she realized these were the tracings, which she knew well how they worked in painting. We work with tracings and with axes and all that, and also in architecture. And there she realized that the meaning in film was created from the form, from the composition and the position of... So it was
μια εικονοποίηση μιας έννοιας.
So it was a visualization of a concept. And that's what she says in the film, that it is the axis of the sacred and the axis of the profane come the one on the other, and he says something by that, the filmmaker.
Έτσι κατάλαβα ακριβώς τι δημιουργεί τι είναι ο κινηματογράφος.
And she understood what cinema was, what cinema is, rather.
Και δηλαδή είχα πάθει ένα πράγμα, ας πούμε, έτρεμα.
She was trembling, she was...
γιατί αισθανόμουν ότι αυτό το οποίο είχα σαν ιστορία γνώσης, δηλαδή τη ζωγραφική και την αρχιτεκτονική, ότι αν η αρχιτεκτονική ήταν η ζωγραφική στο χώρο, έβλεπα την ζωγραφική στο χρόνο.
So she felt that her experiences were coming again here, and if she had started from painting, if architecture was painting in space, cinema was painting in time. So...
Και αυτό που έγινε μετά είναι ότι βεβαίως μετά όλη αυτή την ένταση πήγα και στο μεταξύ είχα αυτή την αίσθηση, αλλά αυτό που ήταν σίγουρο σε αυτό το όραμα, σε αυτή, είναι ότι αυτός που μίλαγε ήμουνα σίγουρη, δεν είχα καμιά αμφιβολία, ήμουνα σίγουρη ότι ήταν ο Μουρνάου.
So after that, she was in just such a tension that she had that vision with that voice telling her that this is the road, the road of life was cinema, and this is how cinema is made. And she was completely sure that the voice speaking was Murnau.
Δεν είχα καμιά αμφιβολία γι' αυτό, καμία.
No doubts at all. This was Murnau.
Yes, thanks very much for the film. I liked it very much, especially the first scene. That was very, very beautiful. I liked it very much. Anyway, there's a part in this, I mean, there are many things I would like to ask, but I'll make it really simple.
Go.
Reality, you have to steal it. It's in between, and I myself, I'm also in between, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Freud says, okay, one of the reasons why we dream is so that we don't have to be in reality. Right? So, but of course, sometimes the dreams are getting so bad, becoming nightmares, that we have to wake up because reality is not as bad as the dreams.
She says that you are right. But I'm going to translate and I'm going to tell you something, and she's going to tell you, I'm sure, something else.
So I have to ask personal questions then. And the first personal question is, do you have nightmares too? And the second question is, losing your voice, how did you get it back? Only through painting or other ways? Because a lot of actors were stutterers and they learned to speak on stage. Okay, anyway.
Πρώτο ερώτημα.
Λοιπόν, πολλά ερωτήματα. Λοιπόν, πρώτον, λέει στο σημείο που είναι από τον κλέφτη, που λέει ότι κλέβει πραγματικότητα, τη ζωή σου και εσύ την κλέβεις για να ζήσεις. Και ότι εκεί λες το σημείο που λες ότι εσύ είσαι ανάμεσα. Οπότε κάνει εκεί ένα ερώτημα το οποίο δεν είναι ακριβώς, το οποίο λέει αν πολύ συχνά βλέπουμε τα όνειρα για να αποφύγουμε την πραγματικότητα. Αλλά καμιά φορά οι εφιάλτες είναι τόσο μεγάλοι που προτιμούμε να ξυπνήσουμε. Το οποίο είναι ενδιαφέρον. Και ρωτάει εκεί αν βλέπεις ή αν βλέπουμε και εμείς εφιάλτες. Αυτό, αν θες, είναι μια ομάδα ερωτημάτων.
Πάρα πολλά ερωτήματα.
Πάρα πολλά. Και η άλλη ομάδα ερωτημάτων είναι για το ζήτημα της αφωνίας. Όταν έχασες τη φωνή, πώς την ξαναβρήκες? Αν την ξαναβρήκες μόνο μέσω της ζωγραφικής, διότι ξέρει περιπτώσεις ηθοποιών που είχαν χάσει τη φωνή τους και τη βρήκανε πάνω στη σκηνή. Πες εσύ,
τώρα...
Ξεκινά από το δεύτερο, πήγαινε στο πρώτο.
Ναι, μάλλον θα πω. Μάλλον θα απαντήσω στο δεύτερο για την αφωνία πρώτα.
There are a lot, so she will start by answering the second question regarding the speechlessness, and then she will go to dreams, and then I will add also.
Λοιπόν, ο βιασμός από το δάσκαλο του βιολιού ήταν το τελικό χτύπημα.
So the experience of rape was the final strike that led to her to lose the ability to speak.
Πολύ αργότερα και μέσα από τις επανειλημμένες μεταξύ αποτυχημένων και πετυχημένων ψυχαναλύσεων, κατάλαβα ότι ήταν ακριβώς αυτό ήταν το τελικό χτύπημα. Ότι υπήρχαν δηλαδή μικρότερα άλλα τραύματα τα οποία αθρίζονταν.
So much later, after many experiences of psychoanalysis, not all of them that successful, she understood that the rape was the culmination of several traumas which led to her losing her voice.
Και αυτό το πράγμα εγώ τότε δεν καταλάβαινα τι λέγανε οι άνθρωποι. Δηλαδή ξαναήρθε αυτή η αίσθηση, ας πούμε, ότι ο λόγος είναι ένας βόμβος.
So at that point she didn't understand anything. She went back to that early childhood when speech appears as a buzz.
Και ο πατέρας μου ήξερε ότι αυτό που για όλοι ήταν σίγουροι για μένα είναι ότι ζωγράφισα.
And her father and everyone around her, the only thing that they were sure about her is that she painted, she drew.
Και αυτό που έκανε ευτυχώς για αυτόν, επειδή ακριβώς ήταν μηχανικός και ήξερε να σχεδιάζει.
And because he was an engineer, thankfully he knew how to draw.
Άρχισε δηλαδή το βιβλίο, ας πούμε, του, ξέρω εγώ, τα φυτά, τα διάφορα βιβλία τα οποία δεν καταλάβαινα τι λέγανε, μου έκανε κάτι το οποίο έμοιαζε με storyboard, έτσι όπως ξέρω σήμερα, φυσικά εκείνη και που κατά τη γνώμη μου ήταν μια δική του έμπνευση, γιατί δεν είχε καμία σχέση ούτε με ψυχολόγο,
So he had this inspiration because this was probably his inspiration, as at the time there were no psychologists or anyone to advise him, and he started to to translate the books, the school books, into small images. And now Antoinetta calls that a storyboard, or I could say comics, but they were not her father didn't know that. He just tried to translate the book of the botanology, geography, everything into small the words into images.
Δηλαδή, ξέρω εγώ, το καουτσούκ, πώς είναι το δέντρο, πώς παίρνουμε το μαχαίρι και κόβουμε την... Δηλαδή.
For example, how you make caoutchouc, the tree, everything in small images so that she understands what is going on.
Και ταυτόχρονα με έστειλαν σε διάφορους ζωγράφους, με τους οποίους μάλλον και έφευγα και ξανά πήγαινα σε έναν άλλον και...
So, and also they started sending her in the workshops of painters. And she usually ended up not being very well there and leaving and going elsewhere, but the truth is that she did go to several workshops.
Ναι, αυτό που, πώς το λένε, καταλάβαινα τότε που ήμουν στην Πάτρα, είναι ότι δεν συμφωνούν, δηλαδή εγώ είναι σαν να είχα μία αίσθηση της ζωγραφικής, την οποία δεν με ικανοποιούσε καθόλου.
Ναι, αλλά αυτό είναι λίγο αργότερα προφανώς. Έχεις αρχίσει να μιλάς σε αυτό που λέμε τώρα.
Ναι, όχι, κοίταξε, δεν έχω αρχίσει να μιλάω όταν στην Πάτρα με στέλνανε στην Κουνούσου, ας πούμε, για κανένα λουλουδάκια και εμένα με πιανε αηδία, ας πούμε, και έφευγα.
Ναι, okay. So she already had some very strong point of view on what painting should be. Even at that point where she yet didn't speak, for example, the first workshop was not that serious. They were making little flowers and she was not enthusiastic about it. But yes, okay. The point is that at some point she started speaking again.
Ναι, όχι. Αυτό που θέλω να πω...
No. She wants to say something else.
Είχε και το άλλο, δηλαδή... παρότι εντείνανε και εγώ ζήταγα επίσης σαν μοναδικό δώρο βιβλία με εικόνες.
And throughout her adolescence, the only gift that she asked from her father was books with paintings.
Που παίζανε ρόλο, δηλαδή ήταν η ζωγραφική που άρχισα και τους ζωγράφιζα, άρχισα από εκεί και ζωγράφισα, αυτός μου ζωγράφισε τις και εγώ τους ζωγράφισα τους ανθρώπους γύρω μου.
So she started drawing too. Her father was drawing the little drawings and she started drawing the people around her.
Και ήμουν ακόμα στο δημοτικό βέβαια.
She was still in primary school.
Και ήμουνα πολύ κακή μαθήτρια.
And she was a really bad student.
Γιατί ακόμα και τα μαθηματικά, επειδή γινόντουσαν όπως τα καταλαβαίνει ο Μπακάς, δηλαδή μια...
Okay, even arithmetics at the time was taught in a very stupid way, so it was not really attractive.
Και έτσι, όταν με το ζόρι έφτασα στο γυμνάσιο και υπήρχαν διάφορα πράγματα, δηλαδή υπήρχε η άλγευρα από τη μία μεριά και υπήρχε στα αρχαία ελληνικά το συντακτικό.
And when και μην το πάμε πολύ μακριά ακόμα, γιατί είναι. And when eventually she entered the secondary education, things changed because there was algebra and she understood algebra, and there was also ancient Greek and the grammar and syntax of the language, and these were she could understand those.
Και σιγά σιγά.
So slowly she gained the ability to speak again.
Και βέβαια πάντα, εντάξει, αυτό θα πω και ότι μίλαγα κάπως περίεργα.
What she always had since, she speaks a little bit strangely. She still speaks a little bit strangely, although now she speaks quite fluently. But this was something that she conquered later. About the dreams. Yes. Yeah, of course we have also nightmares. I would say that trying to also include what Antoinetta would say. The function of dreams in the work of Antoinetta is not escapist. So it's not really to get away from something. It's there are two elements, one or rather three. One is that it is the structure of how cinema works. So that what she explains with condensation, with displacement, all that. So it is a structural relation. Then it is also a source of inspiration because she keeps in the books her dreams. And I would say this other notion that she says that she doesn't feel that there is a very clear demarcation between reality and dreaming. Here I should add that the part that about reality is also mine, because we write that script is written so the kind of inner joke between us is that when I started being there, the word reality appeared, because Aj quite sarcastically, self-sarcastically says she never had so much to do with this thing. So we, as the idea in the film, thief or reality, is that precisely reality, let's say the realization, the awareness of mortality as a thief is also a donor of the gift of life. We are alive because we know we're going to die. So this gains a new meaning in the context of this film. And yeah. Okay.
I don't know if there's a short question, because in 10 minutes next screening.
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe just do the break now. And
Yes.
next film we have again the opportunity
Yeah.
to talk. Yes.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.